He's possibly calling you to 911.
Please call. They're going to airbags keep walking to us. God.
He's crashed out, still inside the vehicle. Be advised, the female did call in. We could hear her on the line.
Airbags are going off. Let's get out. Run. Let's find a hotel.
Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. In the original body cam where officers take Casey White into custody, there's a moment, this moment, where one of the officers leans forward and looks closely at the back of Casey White's head. The officer says something to White, looks back towards the wrecked cars before the two officers continue to subdue White. It's when they lift him from the trunk of the cruiser and Casey White turns that we get a glimpse of what the officer was looking at. Look closely.
Closer, please. Closer.
We now have confirmation both from the dispatcher audio as well as from the police report that not only was the fugitive injured in the back of the head, but it was likely from a bullet. Since officers on the scene only heard a single discharge, it had to be the bullet fired by Vicky, and that it either hit Casey or ricocheted somehow and hit him indirectly. So when the dispatcher asked, "Can you advise any patient status?" the response was, 2 patients, 1 vehicle. One is still trapped in the vehicle at this time. We have another who is stable, alert and oriented, has a bullet wound graze. According to a police report, the officer who took him into custody, I think it was Sergeant Eric Nielsen, he said that he noticed a small amount of blood on the backside of Casey White's neck. When he pointed this out, Casey said, according to the report, that he'd been shot also. Those are in the words of the officer. The officer added, quote, "The offender was adamant that he was okay and that we needed to tend to his wife," end quote. Although it's not absolutely clear if Casey White's injury didn't happen when the grey Cadillac flipped and landed in a ditch, Casey himself seemed to think he'd been shot, and the fact that only 1 shot was heard by the officers on scene, I think does make that seem likely. Casey was treated on the scene for a head injury. According to Sergeant Eric Nielsen's supplemental report, he also saw blood on White's shirt, presumably on the back of the blue shirt below the neck. The bloodstained shirt was taken into evidence according to the report. And now some additional information. James Stinson, the owner of the car wash business who reported the blue F-150 to the cops, said, quote, "I Googled on my phone and I mapped Florence, Alabama to Evansville, straight shot as the crow flies," end quote. That's also what I did on my channel, but Stinson took it further, drawing the line further north. Then Stinson Googled photos of Casey White as well as his tattoos to compare with his surveillance video. And he said, "Normally I just call and have them towed, but something was suspicious about this." According to NBC News, Stinson said, quote, "I hold the pictures up to my camera that the tattoos match. That's when I knew for sure it was him." Stinson then contacted local authorities, but ironically, he had a bit of a hard time getting them to believe him. Finally, I've seen it incorrectly reported that Vicky blamed Casey for staying in the motel just before she took her own life. And this is from the Independent. It says, "Meanwhile, Ms. White's last words were revealed in a chilling 911 call where she said, 'Let's get out and run.' And then this is the part I've highlighted, blames Casey White for wanting to stay at a effing motel moments before apparently shooting herself in the head." But I think what she was saying was she recognized one of the officers who recognized her from the effing motel. So a little bit of a potential inaccuracy there. It's also very clear from the 911 audio that she cries out in fear, is distressed during the chase. You actually hear her kind of shrieking. She's worried that the airbags are going to blast open while they're driving. She actually asks Casey to stop driving. She says, "Please stop." And she suggests that they flee on foot. Also, for those who may be tempted to think that the bloodstains on his shirt is proof that he must have shot her, apparently Casey's both hands were apparently visible when Vicky pulled the trigger. We may find out from the autopsy that Vicky was wounded in some way after the car flipped, causing her to be trapped inside or otherwise unable to run. It's possible that instead of being shot, she decided, being shot by the other officers in a shootout, she decided to take matters into her own hands. But even that seemed to go awry, as she initially survived the self-inflicted injury. Did you know that she died in the evening, hours later, in hospital at 7:06? And that was after almost seriously wounding her lover, the man that she did it all for. The saying, shooting yourself in the foot, comes to mind, doesn't it? Thank you for listening. If you haven't listened to the deep dive that I did yesterday, make sure you do. We also went through a lot of other interesting intuitions, speculations about the dynamics in their relationship. Also, if you enjoy this channel, make sure you subscribe, like, share, leave a comment. And I'll see you guys next time.